coordinator,
Al
Al
Groh.
Groh. We're going to have opening statement, and then he'll take some questions. It's just clear to say the name wrong.
Good morning. We'll just open with questions, anything that you have.
How's the week of practice gone for your guys?
It's been a positive week. Facilities here are great. Had excellent facilities, obviously good proximity. Some bowls you go to, they get called, the players call them the bus bowl because you spend half the day riding to and from practice. And here the convenience is terrific. We get right to the practice field. The facilities are excellent. The field at the school is just like a game field, so it's gone very well. Players been able to compartmentalize well between the social activities and the fun of the game and the real purpose of it. And when it's been practice time, we've had good focus and good concentration.
Coach, can you talk a little about Utah? What stands out to you about their offense?
Very big, very physically oriented team. Size, but clearly in the circumstance, a lot of older players. Players who have, because of their mission circumstances and so forth, in many cases have extended their college career. And there's a lot of physical development, size and strength that creates a difference, say, between a 24 or 25-year-old and a 19-year-old. And it's a physical styled offense to take advantage of the type of skills that they have. So the first thing is the physical size. Get a lot of push with their offensive line, and they know who they want to be. Norm Chow is his reputation is tremendous. His success has gone on for years and years. I'm very familiar with a lot of things that Norm has done with his career, and you can see there's a real plan for how they want to play, and they know how they want to play. And typical of somebody, a veteran coach who's been around for a while, Norm has played in a lot of different styles, played with a lot of different styles, and those have always been, besides his general philosophy, to accommodate the skills of his particular players. And you can see how their approach this year has been to accommodate the skills that this particular team has.
What do you think about Utah's running back? He's small, but he carries the ball a ton.
Well, yeah, he's obviously very durable. He's got the fourth most carries in the country. Pretty remarkable, if you're a 250-pound back, to have that amount of carries and to be whole at this time of the year. And so one that speaks of his durability. And he's a very slithery guy, quick with his cuts, hard to get a direct hit on him. Normally, yards after contact with running backs is associated with big backs. Those backs who lower their shoulder, knock the defenders over, drag them for 3-4 more yards. This player is notable in that there's a lot of yards after contact because the contact is very glancing, because he is skittery, he changes directions well, and there's a lot of fall forward or roll off tackle yardage with him, which will be a significant thing for us to be able to minimize.
Is there, obviously you don't need any incentive to play, but is there maybe extra instead of playing a physical team like this that's given you the sort of style that's giving you a little trouble this year to show what you can do on that time?
One of the things, Ken, that we try to emphasize is being the same guys every day and being the same guy every week. And in that context, then, there should be motivation enough to win every game, no matter what style we play. And that's what really playing defense is on any level. It's that you have to be able to play the game you need to play that week. Each week presents you with a different style, a different set of challenges, and you've got to be able to adapt to that with whatever personnel that you have on hand. So I wouldn't suspect that the style of the opponent would add any more. I would hope that we don't need the style of the opponent to add to our motivation.
Coach, have you seen the progress of the defense from last year to this year? Is it where you want to be?
Well, it's made some progress. It's a little easier for me to answer that question and judge the progress by looking at the players that have had 2 years within the system or who have played a lot of games. For example, Julian Burnett. Okay, Julian's played most of the snaps for 2 years. His progress from when he first started in this system is light years. You know, he really gets it now. Other players who haven't played as much, this is their first year in it, so it's the second year for Georgia Tech to run the defense, but not necessarily the second year for all of the players to do it. So that's why the second year usually shows a good amount of progress, which I think that we've had, but it still takes a few years to catch up until all the players that you put on the field have got 2 or 3 years worth of experience in it. So we're moving into that range here now. Certainly a week like this helps us a lot because we've had this whole month of December for practice, and it's given a lot of players the opportunity to go back and work on skill development and different aspects of their game that are not necessarily opponent-specific related until we got into the game planning.
To kind of follow up on that, who are 1 or 2 guys that you've seen make a lot of progress over the course of this season?
You know, I always hesitate to do the specifics, Ken, because you always leave somebody out. And one of the things that we talk a lot about is, with our unit, is we don't say I, me, or mine. And we say we, us, or ours. And we all do it collectively, or, you know, as the saying goes, one dies, we all die. You know, we win, we all win together. So I'd rather not get into the specifics of that, other than to say that during this period, I've been impressed with the players on our unit that when we started practice, obviously, we were quite a ways away from the game. And, but the players saw the purpose of each one of those practices and really came out with a good level of intent to accomplish the purpose, which in some cases was just, look, fellas, here's the skills that we're working on today by each position, or here's the schemes that we want to get a lot of looks at today, here's what we need to get accomplished. And so they've had a good level of focus on those things. I must say that, you know, some of you may know we went to see the show by the hypnotist last night. And if we could employ some of his skills, we probably could accelerate our progress at many positions. I noticed that the hypnotist got, in a short session, got one of our defensive players to do everything that he told them to do. And we haven't been able to get him to do anything here in 6 months.
Will Michael Peterson go as your number 3? Do you know?
Yeah, Michael will play the star.
Would it be accurate to say that Lewis is your best all-around defensive back in terms of, you know, getting blitzing and tackle stuff in the run?
Well, that position requires a lot of versatility. Now, there's some others who could play it. Jamia Thomas could be a good star. But with younger players, players who are in their early stages of their career, we really would prefer for them to focus on one position and not try to cross-train them into. And now, we had to do that with Lewis. Has all the skills to be a really good corner. He's got the skills to play the slot corner, or what we call the star. Our preference would have been, say, for a player like that in his first year playing, just play corner this year. Okay, really get solid in that phase of his game, and then go in and play star. We just didn't have enough depth to be able to do that. Jamia had been a safety early in his career. He's got all the skills to be a corner, which is where we're playing him. He could be a good star, but we've tried to just put him in one spot where he can get. Player development is as a result to a large degree of accumulated reps. The more reps a player can get at doing the same thing, the faster his development is. If he's flopping back and forth between a number of positions, then those reps get minimized at each spot. Okay, that means he's making some progress at all spots, but maybe not as dramatic a progress as he would at any one particular spot. We got thrown into some circumstances where we couldn't adhere to that schedule. That was the case with Lewis, but we've tried to minimize that and therefore leave Jamil where he is.
Any other questions from Coach Groh?
Okay, thank you for your time.
This time we'd like to bring up quarterback coach and B-backs, Brian Bohannon. We have a Bohannon here, so I know how to do that.
Very good, very good.
Bohannon.
All right, I'm going to open this floor up for any questions.
Coach, talk about the defense that you've been scouting from Utah and what you expect to see from them.
Well, the thing about Coach Whittingham and his defense and his defensive staff, what they've done over the years is they're tough, They're hard-nosed, and they know their schemes. You know, they've been in the Mountain West, they played against Air Force. I was on the staff at Navy when we transitioned and played them in the Poinsettia Bowl. And I know another coach and I were talking about when we left the field that day how impressed we were with how well they played, how tough they were. And I don't think they're going to be any different. Obviously, their personnel is a little different than it was in 2007, it is now. But their scheme and the way they recruit to what they do is not going to change a whole lot. They do a nice job, their kids are tough, and they understand what they're trying to get done.
How has Tevin done in practice this week?
He's had a good week. You know, we came out here on the Tuesday, and it was first day of practice after being off for Christmas, and it was a little sluggish, as you might expect. But then we came back yesterday, and I thought we had a really good practice. It was a lot of focus, a lot of intensity. I think we really got a great nucleus of guys that want to be here, excited about the Sun Bowl, excited about the game Saturday, and want to go out and play our best game.
Could you tell last year that wasn't maybe entirely the case? There was a little sluggishness or
Well, I think hindsight's always 20/20, Ken. I mean, you can always look back and go, you see things that were a little different. But I think the one thing about the seniors and the group we have right now is that we got a good group of kids that are high-character kids that want to do things the right way. And I think at Georgia Tech right now, we want to finish strong. I mean, I talked to you a little bit about the other day, but we want to finish strong. You know, I talked to the quarterbacks the other day in a meeting about, for the most part, most of the time, everything you base is on a first impression. You know, if you're going for a job, if you see a good-looking woman walk through, man, wow. First impression is a lasting impression. But in football, it's a little bit different. You know, it's your last impression that you live with for 8 months, that you have to live with in the off-season and winter workouts and spring workouts. And as history, as you guys know, we haven't had the best of luck finishing. And I think it's a goal for our guys right now to finish strong and make that last impression the best one of the season.
how important is it to you to get the D-backs over 1,000 yards? Is that a big deal?
It doesn't matter. We want to win the game. And obviously, our B-backs to get them going in the game and then to have, to get them established in the game is important. But we're not worried about how many yards they get right now. I mean, our goal right now is on offense is to move the football and score and take care of the football. And that's our only goal. Stats mean nothing right now. The only stat that's important is that, we try to work to get more points than they do.
Coach, who has caught your eye in watching film individually from Utah's defense?
There's no question you turn on any game, number 92 is a heck of a football player. I mean, you can pick any game and you pull it out, and he's in the backfield. He's a heck of a player. He's a difference maker. And he's one that obviously we want to somewhat, I don't think you're going to stop him, but we want to control him the best we can. But he's a good football player.
Is he similar to anybody you guys have faced?
Hard to compare sometimes, and actually sometimes till you play, it's hard to compare. You're watching tape, and we face some awfully good D linemen, in the ACC, but this guy's, he's a really good player.
To what degree has doing better on third downs been a focus, even going back to the spring, because you guys have done so well on it?
Well, I think we're, everything we do, we're focusing on, moving the chains, and I think our guys have taken the point where we know on third down we want to convert and maintain the ball and try to move the ball in the end zone. And I think our guys have just taken some ownership of that and try to do a good job of that. And ultimately, our scheme is in place. There's not a whole lot of mystery of what we're going to do. We're just going to have to go out and execute. And our guys have done a good job of emphasizing third down.
I remember Coach Johnson had said, to go back to D-backs a little bit, that he wanted to take a look at what's happening with the position and kind of evaluate. What have you seen, or is there anything that's jumped out at you that maybe even going this spring, we want to work on this or get better at that?
Well, obviously, we want as much productivity as we can get at that position, and that's something we'll really look hard at, after the bowl game in the off season to see exactly where things are and things that we can do better. And I think sometimes you really sit down and go back through all the cut-ups and you kind of look at things as a whole. After a single game or a game here or there, you can make an evaluation on that game, but really we need to make an evaluation on the season and see where we can get better, maybe to increase our productivity at that position.
You want the first place, Mindy?
No.
Any other questions?
Thanks, guys.